Hello and welcome to another episode of An Oral History of Team Lightning. This is going to be the big one, because today we're going over the First Great War, which is going to be quite a while. I wanted to go over, for the most part, the entire thing. I'm joined once again by my fellow Crayon Eater, Lucian.
C.
The problem is that he's going to have to go soon, so either I'm going to end it when he has to go, or I'm going to continue without him, and it'll be one part, or I'll end it when he goes and it'll be two parts. So let's get right into it. Let's start doing as much as we can. So, first of all, let's explain a little bit of how space warfare works, actually. So...
What? Not do the prehistory part?
We are going to, but I think it's a little important to have context.
Oh, okay.
So, first of all, you have to understand, space is, very big. Like, if we go here and we want to look at, light dimension minor, space is pretty dang big. Also, first of all, I want to congratulate Lucian on his degree.
My degree.
Here's his degree in Team Lightning Prehistory Masters.
Yeah.
That. So congratulations.
Basically a pro gamer.
Clap.
I'm one of the two people clapping.
Yeah. Okay. So travel between these takes a while. So part of the reason why space warfare takes a long time, even though it really shouldn't, is because there's usually months between battles, because how long it takes to get from place to place. So, the other thing is that most of the way, the darkness especially, this is predominant strategy, was what he would try to do is he would try to surround a planet with just a bunch of ships. That way he could, not make sure anybody could leave.
Yep.
He'd send troops down to destroy, any
anti-air stuff they could have.
Any I guess maybe AP, anti-space. Because it's shooting up into space.
No, it's still AA, basically. Yeah.
To send them out, and then he would just bombard the planet from space with his ships until the planet was just a wasteland. That was his usual strategy.
Basically the planets that the humans send the aliens to.
Yeah. So there's very few battles. The majority of the long battles are just ground troops conflicts because they couldn't get ships there, essentially. That's the majority of the battles. The big space battle, we'll get to that in a second. So first of all, how did the First Great War start? You have to understand that the Dark Dimension, so let's go out one more, let's go to Light Dimension Major before the First Great War, and we can go ahead and we can fix this up as we go through the First Great War.
So the Gilgamesh are just
yeah.
Hey, let's go, be pirates.
Yeah, let's go be
in a place that we don't know. And then they go into the Dark Dimension and then they just start eating people. Dark Dimension's wait a minute. This isn't how this works. And then they start eating them.
Yeah.
The
Dark Dimension was made as a copy to the Light Dimension, essentially. And the Light, when he made the Light Dimension, made it and then just kind of said, you people do whatever you want. I'm not going to try to interfere with anything. And he just kind of let the Light Dimension run its course. The Darkness, however, with the Dark Dimension...
I'm going to be a totalitarian dictator.
Yeah, he was just
everyone does what I want.
Yeah. I created you all, I am your god, you're going to do whatever I say. And the majority of what he said was, we really, really hate the Light Dimension, okay? They really, really, he was riling them up to hate the Light Dimension. But the problem is that the Light Dimension was significantly stronger. So it took a lot of time for them to kind of build up to the point where he felt it would be...
They could challenge them.
Yeah, that you could actually challenge the Light Dimension.
Yep.
So, the Gilgamesh, like Lucian was saying, they're in the alien sector, they're space pirates, and they were kind of over here, and they ended up wandering into the Dark Dimension. And their first reaction when they got to Dark Dimension was, whoa, look at all this new space we can pillage.
Yeah.
So they started pillaging, and the Darkness, seeing this, I guess you maybe call it a wake-up call, or it was final justification for a war.
It's a chassis belly they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really need it, but...
but they were just okay, now we're gonna go to war.
I guess it's a good time to start.
I think it's probably a good way to rile up his people, too. It's you see these Light Dimension people that I've been telling you are so bad for so long, here's your proof.
They attack us!
They literally came through, and the first thing they did was attack us.
Pillage everything.
So, he's okay, we're gonna go declare war on the Light Dimension, and he starts sending all his troops, everyone gets ready, and the very first place they hit is the alien sectors, because that's the closest one. Some of the other reasons for the Darkness trying to declare war was, one, he was kind of running out of land at a very rapid pace. Space, yeah.
Yeah.
At a rather rapid pace, and so he needed more land for, his people, and had been riling them up for so long that he felt he had to go to war before they would, spill over into conflict.
Yeah.
So the very first place they hit was the alien sectors, and it was pretty one-sided battle for the most part. The aliens were
kind of died.
Yeah, they were just kind of getting yeeted. And the first, inklings any of the humans heard about this was when a bunch of alien refugees came to Camelot, and they were especially the Elixni / the Clom, which you should go watch the episode on that if you haven't. They were please, like they had the best relationship with humans because they originally saved them.
And then he
So they
was
were
just like, hey, so you see this horrible planet we spent centuries terraforming but didn't work. Yeah, you can stay
yeah,
there.
you can go like chill like in the Milky Way somewhere.
Yeah, go chill like where we won't even like nobody will ever
yeah.
see you ever.
And so all the aliens went over there. We go a little bit more into that in the Kalmata episode, so you can go ahead and watch that. So all the aliens go to the Milky Way, and that's what they do with the refugees. But this also technically isn't the first time there's been alien refugees, because there's a lot of wars in the alien sector. This is the first time there was a lot, though. And they kind of heard these inklings of, like, the darkness or whatever they were calling
It's just
them.
another alien race.
Yeah, to them it was just another alien race, so they weren't really that bothered. It was just another alien war. But eventually, the Light, seeing all this happening, because Light's been watching this for a while.
Like, yo,
yeah.
What are you doing? Guys, come on.
Basically, he's like, I have to intervene now. I have to intervene now.
Because you guys are literally just sitting here watching.
Yeah, and the darkness is, like, coming in. So he basically goes down to the humans or whatever, and he's like, he reveals himself. It's like, hey, I'm the Light. I'm like, your
guys
god.
Control 4/5 of my dimension, and you're not doing jack to protect it.
Yeah.
Go now, please.
Yeah, and doing that, when the Light came down and revealed himself, kind of threw religion into a little bit of a tizzy, because there's a lot of people who were like, wait, so a god finally came down and said who he was.
But he, like, doesn't conform to any religion.
He literally doesn't conform to any single religion. There's not a single religion around this dude. And of course, a lot of people are going to claim, oh, he's our god or this god, but he was like, it doesn't matter. The darkness is coming to kill all of you. Go kill him. So religion is thrown into a little bit of a tizzy. The second thing he does when he comes down, he gives humanity a gift. He turns 5 people and gives them the ability to be energy enabled. And they're all Psycast. So you have Earth, Water, Fire, Air, and Lightning. And they're all extremely strong. They're all grade 10, 9.0, 1.0. If you don't know what that means, go watch the Moore's Power Scale video.
They're basically the highest you can get.
Yeah, they're basically the highest you can get. As well as that, because they were the first, he kind of, when you gave them the gift, also put a little bit of just, like, pre-knowledge into them so they could do entry-level spells so they could train faster. Because a lot of the first bit, when you're energy enabled, is just learning how to cast your first couple spells. It's like a real big hill. And once you know how to cast your first couple, from there it's just diligent practice. But he kind of helped them overcome that hurdle. But humanity, first of all, they were extremely upset by the Light coming down. And second of all, they were extremely upset by his gift. Because these 5 people were now, like, superpowered.
Because the humans are really racist against people that are different.
They were, like, super, super strong. And it was just, like... And as well as that, they also didn't like the fact that they were, in a way, the Light's chosen. They felt, these people who were chosen by the Light obviously felt kind of imbued by God. And so a lot of people who were very, against the Light for religious reasons, like I imagine the majority of the human population were like, hey, these are like,
Demon
the heretics. Yeah. Demon spawn. So they tried to kill them. But luckily, our 5 got away. And eventually they call themselves rather, I guess, elite-like. Children of the Light, yeah. Which I think just kind of conforms to what humans were saying. They're like, oh, you guys are all stuck up. And that feeling of being stuck up will be carried through the first couple wars we'll be going over. But, anyways, so those 5 kind of run off. The darkness is eating the alien sectors, but eventually he gets through and he finally comes around and he starts attacking the east side of Camelot. So the very first battle we have is on the east side of Camelot, and it's called the Battle of Two Moons. And basically, the humans sent a good majority of their forces. The darkness came through, and they all die. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad.
Shouldn't be, yeah, it's just some guys, and then like the entirety of the human fleet, except what, 1?
No, it wasn't the entirety of the human fleet. They couldn't mobilize their entire fleet like that.
Oh, this was in the one.
It was just
okay.
It was
that
it was just a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the majority of their east side. It was just like they had been preparing like their fleet for a little bit, and they didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. So they didn't send like everything they had.
Yeah, just direct.
Yeah, they got completely destroyed at the Battle of Two Moons. Only one ship, so only one flagship survived.
Hope.
Yeah, which is called Hope.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Michael. One ship survived.
Hope. And by the way, I'm gonna have another video talking about the classification of ships, which maybe I should have done before this.
What would a flagship be?
A flagship, I'm pretty sure it's any... I have the thing right here. I'm pretty sure it's any E ship or bigger is a flagship.
Okay. Well,
where's... No, a D ship or bigger is a flagship.
What, really?
Yeah, D or bigger is a flagship.
To be a flagship.
Well, a D ship is 100,000 to 2 million passengers.
Oh.
That's a
Okay.
flagship.
Very interesting. You just go to C and it's like 10,000, then D ship's just like 100,000.
Well,
I
CD
continue.
is 10,000 to 100.
Continue.
Yeah, we'll do a video on the classification of ships later, but
Yeah.
any D-class ship or higher is considered a flagship.
Oh, okay.
So one flagship survived called Hope, and it managed to get away, and this is kind of humanity's waking up call, because for the most part, they had been able to pretty easily eat any, aliens. And aliens, there's a lot of aliens who would try to, like, come into Camelot, and they would just, like, eat them off. But they thought this was just another alien race, and they just completely destroyed them. Like I said, this is their first waking up call. One of the main reasons they were able to do that was the Darkness's flagship. It's called the Damnation of Stars, and if I remember correctly, it is
It just charges like.
it's an EF class ship, so it can have 1 billion to 10 billion passengers.
Okay.
Ship classification gets like insane, but basically it's called the Damnation of Stars, and it uses his god power to basically shoot a giant beam of darkness that can just like just destroy ships. It takes a while to charge, and you can only use it every once in a while, but it's pretty much like the ultimate trump card against almost anything.
Yeah.
So the Battle of Two Moons happened, and for the most part, this war on the east side lasted throughout the entire
Yeah,
war.
it's just kind of like nothing happened. It's basically trench warfare in World
Yeah.
War One, where like they were just chilling, occasionally attacking like skirmishes, but no real like major movements.
Basically, in order for the darkness to move on, and you want to take south side mainly, in order for him to move on to the east side and take the south side, they had to take over one of the 3 main planets on east side and take their like major refueling stations, because he can't make the journey to south side without it. But humanity pretty feverishly protected those. They had a bunch of ships that basically made a blanket around like
Just,
the planets.
Yeah, they want their oil.
Yeah, and because they were also right on those planets, they could constantly refuel and rebuild their ships and repair their ships. So it was pretty much impossible. So what the darkness ends up doing, and now we need to go to Light Dimension Major, is the darkness comes on down to the Demon Isles. And the Demon Isles are at war like a lot. Like they're in turmoil quite a bit. They're constantly fighting and squabbling, and then something will happen. There's 13 main isles in the Demon Isle. So when the darkness came down, the current king was called Blasphemer, and he was going through a bit of a revolution. And a bunch of Demon Isles were like, we don't want to be a part of the main Demon Isle, we're gonna split off again.
Basically,
So-
the entirety of the Demon Isles history.
Yeah.
They're just like splintering
They
off.
just constantly have revolutions and wars, like literally like every like year or 2 years. It's pretty
Spain,
bad.
Literally Spain.
It's pretty bad. So darkness came down, Blasphemer was the current king, and he said, hey Blasphemer, I'll help you reunite the Demon Isles if you'll let me use your Demon Isles to go into Light Dimension Minor, because the Demon Isles go directly into Southside, which is what he really wants to take. So Blasphemer's like, yeah, sure, that's chill, dude.
Yeah,
So
I hate
darkness
humans.
comes through. He helps them reunite the Demon Isles for like the 50 trillionth time. And he also recruits a bunch of demons to come with him into Southside. Now, at this point, I'd say this event happened maybe like 6-8 months into the war, because the war officially started, I'd say, with the Battle of Two Moons for the humans. Obviously, the war started over here in the alien sectors. And by the way, when we talk about this, we say the majority of the fighting happened in the alien sectors, because that's true. Getting through the alien sectors took forever, and even throughout the war, there was a little bit of fighting in the alien sectors, but for the most part, Darkness just kind of rolled on through after he crushed it. But the majority of the fighting happened here in the alien sectors. Like, as silly as it sounds, humanity really did not take the brunt of it. I mean, the Milky Way never even got touched. It was literally just the east side and
Yeah, it
south
was just
side
the
of
second
Camelot.
galaxy. But I mean, Camelot was like better.
Yeah, Camelot
Yeah.
was like way better. Milky Way was just full of just stupid planets. So anyways, he comes up through Southside, and the main planet we're worried about is a planet called Atla. ATLA. So let me go ahead and do that.
Stupid planets like Jupiter.
So Atla is just kind of chilling here. The reason why Atla is important is because it's the main refueling station.
That's not it's.
I know, I'm not used to the keyboard.
Why it has no arrow keys, Mike.
For main refueling station for the United. By the way, humans call themselves the United Alliance, or the UA, so you can take that whatever you will. So, main refueling station for the United
The
Alliance. No. Stupid.
Stupid head.
So, this is the major refueling station. The problem with it is that it also has a lot of portals to the Demon Isles. So the Demon Isles, quite literally, I don't know why I never told me to frick off here. That's not how you spell it. So the Demon Isles, quite literally, when you come out of them into like the light dimension or the dark dimension, you literally just go through a portal, basically. And so there was a bunch on Atla, And so the Darkness, when he was, fighting, he really wanted to take Atla. So he just kept on sending troops through. Now, Darkness himself actually is still on the Battle of Eastside. He is still yet to get through Eastside at this point. And he's just kind of chilling there. So Atla was this really big important planet. The war continues on into about 2 years into the war. It gets to a point where humanity feels like they're at a point where they can try to invade the Demon Isles through Atla and try to push them out. So that's what they end up doing. Humanity gets into contact with somebody inside of the Demon Isles, so another revolution happens inside of the Demon Isles, like again for like the 50th billionth time.
This guy Asmodeus is just like,
yep, and this one's
hey.
being led by Asmodeus.
Yep, it's like, hey, I don't hate humans entirely, so
yeah,
we can like be friends.
So it's like, hey, if you help me, win this revolution, then like I'll make sure that I'll break our pact with the Darkness.
Yeah,
and they won't be able to come through and attack. Humans are like, okay, that's cool. So they make a huge push in Atla. This is also where the Children of the Light show up again, and they come with them, and they
basically just force them out of like back into the Demon Isles, and they just start breaking the portals. It's like, yeah, we don't like you guys.
Yeah, well, they go. So not only do they force them back into the Demon Isles, they actually physically go into the Demon Isles and they fight with Asmodeus. Yeah. And it doesn't last that long. Battle probably lasted like a week or two because it was all ground troops and space troops. And the end result was that Asmodeus was put into power, and the Darkness, and was kind of kicked out.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. So one of the other major reasons for why that whole entire revolution was started with Asmodeus was because Darkness was conscripting demons into his army to fight, and the demons really didn't like that, and Blasphemer didn't really seem to care. So
whatever.
A lot of the ground troop warfare was the Darkness troops and the demons attacking the humans. So we have that. Demon Isles now, they don't have to really worry about as much, so it's pretty much at this point just the Battle of Eastside. So this is about 2 years into the war. And eventually, about 2 years into the war, almost among the same time that Atla happened, the Darkness managed to finally get his flagship through. So what they had been doing is they had been slowly but surely trying to slip ships past this kind of Eastside blockade. And they've been gathering in a patch of land, like somewhere around here, I guess. Just like a patch of space.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
patch of space.
Yeah.
And they had been kind of using that and even kind of idling and stuff and waiting for their time to shine. And humanity had known about this for a while, they just didn't really have the resources to divert to kind of stop it. But eventually Darkness gets his flagship through to this patch of space, and humanity basically secured Southside. So Darkness's next move is he's going to try to move to Southside. And humanity kind of seeing all of this, like, hey, now we have the resources, we're going to take all of our things from Southside and we're going to head over here and we're going to fight them.
Yep.
And there wasn't a specific name for this battle. Basically, they went to fight them, and it was just the Battle of Two Moons again. They just got
wrecked.
They just got completely
the
obliterated.
humans just like overestimated their abilities, and they remembered that they're actually inferior to somebody for once.
Yeah, well, they're inferior mainly to the damnation of stars. It's just kind of broken.
Yeah.
So they get yeeted again. They run away. And then Darkness at this point starts his assault on Southside, then they kind of disappear and they kind of go off radar, and they're like slowly coming down towards Southside.
So like the light is just like, I'm gonna give you guys my cool suit.
Yeah, so the light at this point realizes that there's no way the war can be won without the death of the Darkness, and no human contains the capability to kill the Darkness. His hope was that humanity would deal enough damage to Darkness's troops that it wouldn't make sense for him to continue his advance. But it looks like Darkness is winning at this point, and there's no way for a human to kill him.
So he basically sacrifices his puppet, creates the light suit, and then he gives it to the lightning guy.
Yep, because he was considered to be the strongest at this point. And he kind of became the de facto leader of the group. And a puppet, by the way, we haven't made our episode on demigods and tier 1 gods and all that, but a puppet is how a god exists in a physical form, in a plane.
Yeah.
So basically, that happened. He destroyed his puppet to create the light suit. He gave the light suit to the lightning guy. And he's like, yo, here's this light suit. You can use it to kill the Darkness.
And he's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So the original 5 go with, and they basically tell the United Alliance, the UA, hey, I know you've been trying to kill us for a while. Because, by the way, do we even go over this? But kind of.
Yeah.
The UA really, really hates the Children of the Light. Even during the battle to retake Alta, or Atla, Atla.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Alta. My brain.
Small
brain. So, they were a huge part of that. And they were one of the main reasons why humanity won that battle. But humanity didn't really like. Even after that, they were like, "Whoa, they're so strong. We definitely need to kill them because
Yeah.
they're way too strong."
These people are like helping us win the war. Clearly, the only solution is to kill them.
Yeah, clearly they must die very soon and very fast.
Very right now.
Very stop breathing. Preferably now.
Breathing is not necessary for these fake humans.
So they basically, the original 5, they go over to the UA and they're like, hey, I know you're going to kill us. We're going to go chill over here because the light told them where the darkness was. So they kind of bait the humans into going into that patch of land where the darkness is. And they get into their final really big battle. This battle is called World Revolving. This is the final battle of the war. Like I said, there was very few battles. There's a couple other battles, mainly on South
Oh,
side.
this is the one where like lightning just goes in, or the lightning dude just goes in there and he's like, die.
Yeah, this is the final battle.
Yeah, and then the humans are just like, wait a minute. So yeah, so the lightning guy just goes in and just kills the darkness, or the puppet of the darkness. And then now that ship, which has been like yeeting all the human ships, the humans realize, wait a minute, we're actually winning. What? So they start a massive counteroffensive and just like eat the entirety of East Side.
So yeah, so basically they're existing in this little patch of land. They kind of bait them there, and at this point they're kind of locked into the conflict. So somehow during the conflict, the original 5 managed to board Darkness's flagship. Oh yeah, by the way, it's called World Revolving because the planet that they were at when this happened actually revolves every hour. So there was both ground fighting and air fighting, but the ground fighting was really, really inconvenient for landing ground troops because of how fast the planet was spinning. You kind of had to time your ground troops really well
Yeah, the
to make sure that,
you'd be able to feel it, like
yeah,
yeah,
it was pretty
just be
pretty
like,
cray cray.
you just like jump and you see the planet like move under you.
Because again, in any kind of battle, it's really important that you have land to be on besides just space. It's really important that you're tethered to some land. So taking land in space battles is very important. And so this planet was very important. That's how it got the name World Revolving. So anyways, all this is happening. It's kind of almost an even fight in a sense. And eventually the original 5 managed to board the Darkness's flagship, the Damnation of Stars. They get on, and the lightning person using the light suit basically gets into a fight with the darkness. He activates the light suit and it shoots out a giant beam of light that destroys darkness's puppet, so he can no longer physically exist in the realm. And the people of, the dark dimension, seeing their literal, god just dead is
For like, wait a minute.
Yeah. They're understandably a little bit like
okay, like
yeah,
it's probably time to go.
Yeah, so they end up kind of, pissing off. And the original 5 are like, woo, we did it!
We did it, and humans are just like, hey,
What if you,
stop existing? What if you lost your living privilege?
Okay, so let's talk about what were some of the outcomes of this war. So I think we went over everything in the war. Went over the East Side, went over South Side, the alien sectors. The refugees went over here and became the Klamada. A lot of it we kind of talked about in some other episodes. So some of the outcomes of the war, the alien sectors became the lost sectors because they were just kind of
destroyed. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, one more thing about this. So for the battle, the United Alliance basically petitioned the Tinkerer, who's like this genius inventor, to create war robots for them. And he creates these really, really cool war robots, and humanity makes 20 billion of them to help them fight. And that's going to be important later for one of our other wars, because those war robots are gonna
do a funny prank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they're just gonna go over and vibe in their own sector of the galaxy.
Yes, by the way, I'm going to try to fix this map up a little bit. I'm going to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to try to explain to you what the map of Light Dimension Major looks like after this war. So we have all this going on. So people just go here, you don't come back.
Yeah, don't they cut off the connection to the Dark Dimension?
Yes, so the Light does this specifically. So even though the Light's puppet is destroyed,
he just go over and he just snaps it in half.
He uses some of his power to create a new demigod position. And he creates 4 Key Guardians. And as long as one of these Key Guardians are alive, there can be no travel between the Light Dimension and the Dark Dimension. So I don't know how to show that the line got yeeted.
An X?
Can I put an X on it?
I don't know. You just put a cross through it, or just cross something through it.
I guess.
Just put another line through it, as in it's a barrier. Bam, no more.
Yeah, looks a little bit scuffed. But...
yeah.
So no more travel between like Dark Dimension and between the Demon Isles. Is a way
It's
to,
like it's fractured. It's not really
yeah,
like
they start closing. Like, I'm gonna slide a little bit
yeah.
thicker.
The humans couldn't get all the portals, but most of the travel between the areas would just be not happening.
Yeah.
So essentially, the light dimension miner is kind of safe.
Yeah. So they close off. They close off so many portals they can find between the Light Dimension and the Demon Isles, and they close off the travel. The Dark Dimension, so Light Dimension Miner is a little bit more safe. The alien sectors come the Lost Sectors, and the Milky Way now has quite a few aliens living in it, which end up becoming the Clamata. So they're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Um,
You're half human, so you're not like.
so the war
only
robots
half
were
AD.
created, and the original 5. So those are the outcomes of the First Great War.
Are they called automatons at this point, or is that?
Well,
one?
automatons are the ones who are sentient.
Okay.
So basically, what happened in the First Great War is going to directly lead us into the next 2 wars. So the Blood and Rust War and the Tragedy of the Jagged Planet /
the Energy War.
The Energy War are direct results of this First Great War. And what's left of Darkness's forces in here, most of which, what?
Nothing.
Okay. What's left of Darkness's forces end up forming a new faction known as the Golden Sun, with the belief they can bring back their god by consuming or getting to the heart of this giant golden sun that exists somewhere in the light dimension. And this faction essentially stays in the light dimension minor for like ever, basically.
Yep.
And this is part of the reason why there's a little bit of debate whether or not the First Great War actually ended here. Because there's some people that say because the Golden Sun,
conflicts.
yeah, because the Golden Sun never really stopped fighting, and because they were still fighting, for the purpose bring back their leader, the First Great War never technically ended. But really, that final battle was kind of the decisive part where the humans had to stop worrying about it as much, and the Golden Sun became more of just like a terrorist-esque group.
Yeah.
Just kind of like terrorizing them.
Chilling in their own area and being annoying.
Yep.
So that's the Great War.
For the most part, that's the Great War.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Next episode, I think we're probably going to diverge a little bit before we talk about the Blood and Rust War and the Energy Wars. Probably going to do one on classification of ships.
Yeah.
Maybe theology. Bless you. Thank you for watching.